Real Madrid has just signed Marc Cucurella. An absolute shocker to me. I have no idea how this deal happened so fast. Honestly, I have seen multiple rumors. Yes, but he was supposed to stay at Chelsea. He was supposed to go to Atletico, maybe another club, maybe even Serie A. Bang! Real Madrid in. Jose Mourinho doesn't trust Alvaro Carreras, and we sign Marc Cucurella from Chelsea. Here we go. It's not even a rumor, nothing. It's a here we go from Fabrizio. Exclusive. Real Madrid reached verbal agreement to sign Marc Cucurella. Chelsea, here we go. Verbal agreement in place between all parties. Player 2, he's the left back wanted by Mourinho. Details follow. I mean, he joins us after the World Cup, of course. Hey, who was saying Real Madrid doesn't have a player at this World Cup in the Spanish team? Is wrong. We have Cucurella. Cucurella is at Real Madrid. How did it happen? I don't know. What's the deal? I don't know. It just happened like this. Let me know your thoughts, of course, down below. We're going to talk about the signing, what I think about, Carreras and Mourinho and this and that, what's actually going to happen. We're going to look at some of his stats, because the last season of Cucurella wasn't the greatest season. He wasn't performing at the top level, but he was still good. One problem is he can maybe be a little bit injury prone, but I think Cucurella, nonetheless, will be a good signing. But if we look at it from a point of view, why Real Madrid wanted him and, how quickly it got done, I'm happy as well. I think Carreras needs to have that, that opponent, that rival in that position, especially left back, is such a weak position for us since Mendy is injured, Fran Garcia is so inconsistent, Carreras is just kind of mid. He doesn't really do anything exceptionally well. He doesn't do anything bad. He's just 6, 7 out of 10 every game, which we don't need at Real Madrid. And I think Marc Cucurella at his best is a much better left back than Alvaro Carreras, if I'm being completely honest. Now, Marc Cucurella wanted to decide his future after the World Cup, of course, because, there are rumors about many clubs, as I said before, but Real Madrid came in and he agreed immediately because Real Madrid only knocks once. We know that. And Marc Cucurella was set. I mean, if Madrid came for me, bro, I'm saying yes immediately, bro. Real Madrid signed Marc Cucurella out of nowhere. Barca were interested, Atleti wanted him, but suddenly Real Madrid showed up and got him. We are literally robbers. We rob Barcelona of Bernardo Silva, now Cucurella, and we tried to rob them of Julian Alvarez and Atletico as well, and now we robbed Atletico as well of Cucurella. We are literally looking at Atletico's transfer targets and Barcelona transfer targets and signing all of their players. If we get Guardiola, which is now looking like an impossible deal, we would be stealing another player. This, tactic and mentality of Jose Mourinho hating Barcelona and, constantly poking at them is already starting before anything has even begun. Before a ball has even been kicked. I think Marc Cucurella is a good signing, but the fact that we are stealing him, especially from Atleti, because I think Barca, sure, I think they're still going to go for a defender, but Atleti needed him. Barca, if they got him, would have been a great player for them. This is a great signing for us especially, but I like the fact that we are stealing from them. I like it from Jose, and as I said before, I think this is the best signing to actually rival Alvaro Carreras. Of course, I would have wanted Guardiola to be, that versatile option as a center back and a left back, but if I'm going to be completely honest, if we are getting Cucurella for around 40-35 million, that's what the price was looking to be at from Chelsea camp, especially even before Real Madrid was interested. Because as I said, the last season of Cucurella wasn't the greatest, and if we just look at his age, he is 27. He's gonna be 28, yes, when the World Cup is happening. And I just think the contract isn't the greatest as well. It ends basically, the season after this season. I think this is a good signing. Of course, as I said, this season of Cucurella, even though he started 31 matches and played 34 in the Premier League, wasn't the greatest. And for Chelsea, especially in the whole of Premier League and the whole season, it was just underwhelming, if I'm going to be honest. A lot of players underperforming, Palmer. We had players like Garnacho, oh my goodness, Bino Gittins, these new signings that have absolutely flopped, Liam Delap. I think for Chelsea, it was a really, really bad season overall. That's why I'm not going to slander Cucurella too much. I just hope he can stay fit as he did for last season. He has had a few injuries before, nothing too crazy, which should be good for Real Madrid, which is what we need. But I'm always skeptical about players getting injured, so knocking on wood, it doesn't happen. But the fact I want to look at is that Marc Cucurella is the player that we are looking at right now is versatile. He's versatile. He's good all around. Once again, though, should we have looked more into somebody that is like so great at one stat and maybe a little bit worse at something? Because Cucurella is similar, I would say, to Carreras in, that Carreras can basically do everything, but he doesn't do anything like exceptionally well, which is kind of pissing me off, because we were used to Marcelo, sensational attacking. And, it didn't matter that his defending wasn't that great, we know that. But we had Carreras on the other side, Carvajal, of course, on the other side, who was more versatile. But now we have Trent, with the passing. If he can stay fit, and Marc Cucurella on the other side, I think it can be, a good partnership. It just depends if Cucurella actually starts over Carreras. That is my one concern. What if Carreras just goes on and, proves himself? That's my only opinion. I think Carreras can go on to prove himself, and we could be wasting money on Cucurella, but you never know. Cucurella can be one of the best fullbacks in the world. He can prove that right now at the World Cup. And the fact we are signing him before Spain even kicked a ball, I mean, this is the best time to sign a player, because before the World Cup, their value has not gone up yet. The value is staying the same, maybe even less, because the contract, of course, isn't the best on Cucurella's side. He has been at Chelsea for a lot of years now. I think this is the best time we could have signed him, and it is the right time. Because if we signed him, for example, after the World Cup, and he had, 3 good performances, maybe even an assist or even a goal, it can happen, in a World Cup. His price suddenly goes up by 10 million. Oh my God, this guy's looking at him. Premier League teams are looking at him because he had a great World Cup. We did it the best possible time it could have been done. And honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I think from a Chelsea's point of view, it's a good deal as well. Because Cucurella, I would say he's genuinely a left back. I would count him as a left back, not a left wing back, and I think Xabi Alonso will actually play his Leverkusen system at Chelsea. So for Cucurella, wanting to leave and now joining Real Madrid, for him, it is the perfect signing. If we compare though, Carreras and Cucurella on a stat basis, there is quite a lot of differences actually. Like, Alvaro Carreras, way better in progressive passes, way better in carrying the ball, and way better in aerial duels. Not that crazy. But once again, if we look at it from a defensive point of view, which we have been lacking massively at Real Madrid, somebody that can actually defend, and that is, solid defensively, we can see that Cucurella has possession one way more. He has 78 percentile compared to 57 percentile on Alvaro Carreras. And defensive duels are at 59% compared to 18% of Alvaro Carreras. Which, when you look at Carreras, especially in big games, he does lack that defensive quality. Because, yes, he can tackle, he can do that, he can get back, he's not particularly slow. Yeah, he's good on the ball, sure, but other than a few solid, decent, defensive performances, I don't really remember him looking up a huge player. Like, he does struggle against big players, especially in the UCL. And I can see him just being a little bit, inconsistent. That's what it is with Carreras. He's never the best. He's never the most solid defender. He's just that. And that's what you don't need at Real Madrid. That's why I think Cucurella can be much better, because Cucurella at his best, especially 2 years ago, even a season ago, he was sensational. Cucurella, as well, is one of the most hated players in the world, and we are signing somebody that is I would say, still a big name. And I think for Jose Mourinho's system, if he can, be a solid left back, he can fit comfortably in. It just matters in the fact of, what if Alvaro Carreras just start the season absolutely bombing? That's my only reason I wouldn't, be looking at a proper left back. That's why I wanted Gvardiol to be the number one option for Real Madrid. That is genuinely my only, bad thing about the signing. I would have much rather had Gvardiol, who could have been playing center back and also playing left back, given, competition to both positions. But Guardiola looks to be signing a new contract at Manchester City. So if there is Cucurella on the market, I'm rating this signing like an 8 out of 10. He's 27, about to turn 28, coming into his prime years. If he has a great World Cup, this is one of the best signings we could have made for the left back position, because the other players like Alphonso Davies, too injury prone, Nuno Mendes basically unavailable, and I don't even know, like left backs is kind of a dead position in football right now. We have a lot of, these left backs that are basically center backs like Calafiori, Guardiola. But I like an out-and-out left back, which is Marc Cucurella, and I think he can do everything as a left back. He can attack, defend, he's okay on the ball. I would say he's better defensively than Carreras, and that is exactly what Jose Mourinho wants from his fullback. Be solid defensively, that's the first thing. Everything else you do is a plus on the pitch. I think Marc Cucurella, especially when it's a here we go, I like this signing a lot. I think the fee will be around 40, maybe 45 million. If it's less, I'm going to be even more happy. I'm going to give this signing an 8 out of 10. I'm saying W. Honestly, it's a W signing for Real Madrid. And especially before the World Cup, it's sensational. I hope Alvaro Carreras gets that competition. I hope they both battle it out. And may the best left back win. Chat, we have signed Marc Cucurella to Real Madrid. Let's see what happens next. This has been crazy. Honestly, I hope you enjoyed this video. I was just, gonna do a quick reaction, maybe later in the evening. But when I saw here we go, I had to do a video. So I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.